What's up, guys? Synthetic Division here. So as you remember, we did an overclocking on the Zyber 8S. And what I found so far is that it's been running a little warmer than it used to. And I have a feeling that I probably might have cooked the thermal paste on it. I've done it before. So this video is going to be basically about that. And I'm going to go step-by-step guide on how to tear it down and everything. So first I want to kind of show you what I've got going here. So this was kind of a cool thing I found on Amazon. It is an XT60 to XT30 connector. That allows me to use 12 gauge wire for my power supply, which is underneath there. That's a 300 watt. I'm still waiting for my 600 to show up, but when we do that, we'll do another overclocking video. Then of course we got the Zyber 8. So let's get it unplugged. Let's get sort of first thermal reading. This is where we've been at recently. It's been hanging out at 60, and I've been hearing the fans roaring. We're hashing at 5.89 with a 0% error rate. This thing is running really, really good. Fantastically. So anyways, there it is in all its glory. Super cool device, super premium device. So we're going to give it the premium treatment. So hang in there, guys. Let's move to the bench top. Okay, guys, here we are. So a few things you're going to need. I would recommend an iFixit kit or something similar. Walmart has one that's pretty good. I'm actually using the driver from that. And then most of these Allen head are 2mm Allen heads. So, and then some good thermal paste, some pads to clean off the thermal paste, and then of course some rubbing alcohol. I recommend 99% or the highest you can find. So let's get started. We got to take all these screws off first. So let's go ahead and get these off. It's going to require, I think this one's a slight up, like a 2.5, if I remember right. Yeah, so these are 2.5. And all these screws are like really pretty and anodized finish. So, but our overclock video, we did really well. We got it up to 8.11 terahash, but it started getting a little warmer. So it was time to get this thing, get that heatsink off and make sure we didn't cook all the thermal paste off, because when you start pushing them to their limits, you can do that. You can make that prematurely kill that thermal paste. So we're going to tear this all down. It's really, this is a super premium device. I can't stress that enough. We'll just set the Plexi off to the side for now. And then you've got to twist all these little doodads off here. These extensions. So we'll twist them all off. Get this down to the bare board. This is going to be quite extensive teardown, but I want you guys to be able to see this with me. These all should twist off by hand. If not, I don't see why they wouldn't, but just on the safe side. So we'll... Now remember that the Zyber 8 has a couple of fans too. It has a top one and then a bottom one. So we got to make sure we get those off. So let's get these guys and we'll set them off to the side here. And then we're going to actually just lift it up, which will take all these machine screws right here out of the way. This thing's got a lot going on as far as screws and hardware goes. So we're going to set it like this. And now I recommend, actually, let's set it like this. So we need to get these out. Okay. There's a couple of small finish screws right here and then a couple big ones. So let's grab a Phillips and let's take these small finishing screws out first. These are little tiny guys too, so just be warned. That, I'm going to set those ones right there since they're kind of an oddball size. And these ones right here as well. Got my trusty drink next to me here. I might need it. I've been having a pretty raspy throat as of late. So now with these ones, these are like a cutter screw for your fans, like your standard PC fans. So these cutter screws are kind of a pain. Just made sure I charged that up too. So we'll take that off. Put those right there as well. These are, like I said, these are cutter screws. and I'll try to show you what a cutter screw looks like. It's kind of like that, really aggressive thread pitch to cut into the, it basically taps the fan for the screw. So like that, and then it looks like these should just slide right off like that. And then we're going to do fan sides. Basically, I'm going to set these up like this is the fan side, and then these will slide off as well. Should slide out of there pretty easily, kind of like that. Really good quality everything on this device, dude. It's kind of crazy. These guys are really really cool about how they design things. I love their designs. Are they a bit more money? Yeah, of course they are, but I think in the long run it might be worth it, in my opinion. So as you can see here, the fan is fed through the heat sinks there. So we'll go through these heat pipes. So this one right here, pop that off, and just feed it back through. I think they do that as kind of like a cable management, which, I mean, I get it. The fan's a little bit dusty, so we may need to clean that off too. And then we'll take this one off, and it goes through the heat sinks there as well. And this one's a little bit tighter, and it's right in here. So we'll need to kind of push it through a little bit and then fish it out. Okay, so looks like these side ones are not quite as tight, which is okay. That's interesting. Those ones aren't very tight. I wonder if that's by design or if that might be just it wasn't tight, because this one feels pretty tight. This one does not. So let's go ahead and get these out. For the most part, you should be able to just take these off like this. But that one is not wanting to cooperate, so we may have to use a different tool there. Let's see if it's the same. Nope, it's a different size hex, so we'll leave that one right there, and then we'll bring this one in. Boy, that is a big hex there. We might use a Torx bit, because the Torx bit acts like a hex anyway, so let's try that and see if a Torx bit is a little bit bigger. Yeah, the Torx bit works better. So we'll take this. This is why I say it's good to have a couple of drivers if you can. So I'll use this green driver to hold that, and then I'll use this one to loosen the screw for it. And there is washers in there, guys, so you need to be careful not to lose the washers, okay? And they are stacked like this. That looks like a little tiny lock washer. I don't know if you can see that. A tiny lock washer, and then a regular flat washer to go with that. So we're going to want to keep track of those. We don't want to lose any of those things. So I'm going to go ahead and attack this side right here. And then these ones are going to have to be unscrewed by holding with a pair of pliers. So let's just get the side ones done first. Yeah, see, I think that one side might have been loose, which could hinder the pressure of the heatsink. It might explain why some of the ASICs were a little bit off on the temperature wise, but that's okay. We're going to fix that. So now when it comes to loosening a heatsink, guys, you should really do a cross pattern. So, start here, and then we'll get a pair of pliers. I like to use this pair of wire strippers for pretty much everything because it's got a really nice bite head right there. So let's turn this over like this, and let's get it. There we go. So like I said, try to cross pattern it, guys. You don't want to just go for it, you know what I mean? Because there's a chance that it could offset on the die. It's just like installing a computer heatsink. Just loosen it up slowly over time. Cross pattern is a good way to do it. Let's loosen this brass stand up. Okay. And we'll just get them all loose. And then everything looks pretty loose. Then we can just start taking it off. So like I said, guys, be careful with this. Cross pattern only. Don't get too crazy. It's not extremely tight on there. And there's no real online torque specs for this, so we're just going to go for it, and it's got like a M3 standoff. We're going to keep all the little screws over here in the corner just so we don't lose them. And then we'll get this last one right here. And when you're tightening it back up, I suggest the same way. Cross pattern on tightening. It'll make your life a lot easier. So see, that's how the screw is. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a little tiny lock washer and then a flat. And then we'll take this heatsink off. I ain't even gonna bother with these. I don't really need to, so let's see if we can get the heatsink off. And there we go. That's a chunky boy heatsink. There's a lot of cleaning that's gonna need to be done there. Well, and that's the board, if you can see it there. And then there's the bottom of the heatsink. All of the chips are lined up with the heat pipes, which is fantastic. That's what you want. So we'll set that aside. We're going to clean the board, get all the thermal paste off. We're going to be applying Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut. Got 2 tubes of it, just in case. And then we'll come back. So hang on there just a second, guys. Okay, guys, we're back. So let's take a look at this real quick. Let's take a minute to appreciate the design, because that's just awesome. Really cool design. So a few things here. TinyChipHub, way to go on the thermal paste. That's how you apply thermal paste. There was more than enough on there, and I don't think it was too bad, but we'll see how the Cryonaut does. So they applied it real heavy. It took like 8 or 9 of those little round pads that I used to clean off. They kind of look like this, you know, but real quality thermal paste. It looked like it was decent. It still had some consistency to it, but we're gonna go ahead and get this thermal pasted. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'm gonna pause it for that because it's gonna be a lot of work to get this put back together. So I'm gonna put thermal paste on, put it back together. Now you know how to tear it down, so it's just reverse order, and then we'll close it up with some new thermal tests, and we'll see what happens. So hang in there, guys. We'll switch out real quick. Okay, guys, so we got her back together. A few tips and tricks here. To put these screws right here in the bottom that hold these supports, it's best to just put them all in, lay it on its side. Also, to attach the heatsink and the heatsink to the board, lay the heatsink down first and then actually lay the board on top of it. You can't over tighten them, which is cool because they have these washers and the little lock washer and little flat washer, so that's great. That means less of a chance to crush an ASIC chip. If you didn't know, there's 8 of them on this chip, on this board, if you didn't notice it, but they are the little bit older model. I believe that's the BM1366. The newer ones use the BM1370. It's a 1366 or 1366 or the 1368. Can't quite remember. I'll have to look at that. We'll get it moved back over to the test bench, and get it reconnected, and then we'll see what happens and make sure that make sure I did everything right and nothing blows up. So we're gonna move over to the bench real quick, and we'll see what happens. Okay, guys, so let's get this set up over here. If you notice, I have this opening in the bottom of this. This was an old test bench that I used. Also, was on the Nerd Miner Ultimate rig, but I'm repurposing it. So I wanted to take a little bit of a second here to show you what I'm doing with this. So the reason I went to the XT60 connector was I couldn't get wires larger than this gauge to work. If you notice, this is a 16 gauge wire. This is 12 gauge. I wanted to be able to use 12 gauge wire because I'm going to be putting a bunch of voltage through it, and I didn't want to risk melting a wire. This one works just fine. In fact, we'll probably repurpose this for the GT801 because, I mean, it's great. This just draws a lot more power. I mean, in my current overclocks that I have on it, we're at 141 watts. So let's go ahead, and then I put that little adapter on there, as you can see. That you can get on Amazon for like 4 of them for like $6. Really good deal. Definitely worth it. So we'll take our cable, make sure we're in the correct orientation, and plug her in. Fans are coming on, and then we'll pull up the app or the actual on AXOS. I want to use AXOS for this one because it works better. Now this is similar to other Bitaxes and like the Nerd Q axe as far as chip count and power and all that stuff. So let's see. The first thing I want to watch is my temperatures, and I don't want them to climb too hard. If I see them like out of control spike, then we know we got a problem. So we're looking okay. There's no out of control spikes. We're hashing at the correct hash rate with a very low error rate. So got this. Maybe you can see it. There we go. You can see me in it. But we'll let this set up for 10-minute burn-in and see what happens, guys. Hang tight, and I'll bring you back to the bench to finish it up. All right, guys. Well, we've got the temps to come down a little bit, but not much. I'm assuming that the thermal paste was probably just fine. A few things to add here before I conclude the video here. Definitely get that device on a separate power supply if you plan to do anything over the stock clocks. It will burn up its stock power brick. It comes with a healthy Meanwell power brick, which is cool. They ship it with a premium power brick, but definitely get it on its own connector. Use a thicker gauge wire. When I was overclocking before on the 16 gauge, I noticed it getting hot. So not hot to like melting hot, but warm enough that it made me uncomfortable with it. So I recommend one of, like I did with that XT60 connector to the XT30 adapter. Fantastic little doodad. You can get those on Amazon. I'll see if I can leave a link down below for it. But anyways, guys, that's it. That's how you tear down a Zyber 8S. Many props to TinyChipHub. That is a fantastic device. It looks good. It runs really well. Not very efficient, but it's pretty awesome. It's probably the best solo Bitcoin miner I have looking. It looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking ones. It's definitely a head turner. My buddy was over here the other day and he was like, "Holy crap, dude, what is that? It looks awesome." He's not wrong. It's pretty awesome. So, anyways, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to be doing a little more of these tutorial style videos to help you guys out. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Do you have experience with the Zyber 8S? Let me know. Maybe the Zyber 8G. I've heard that's pretty awesome too. So, yeah, leave a like if you like the video. Peace out, guys.